to Open Forum. What would you guys like to get started with this morning? Anybody have any questions or comments? Anybody get any good emails this week? Anything good happen? Yeah. All right. So we apologize for that error of CCing everyone instead of BCCing, but I appreciate you guys' patience with all of that. So most of you. So anyway, anybody have any questions or comments? Those of you in the lower part of the alphabet, by the way, you missed out on a lot of stuff. Those of you in the later letters, you got a lot more exciting stuff out of that. So what we do is we break it down. Since we have just under 1,000 of you guys, we break it down. If you send more than 500 on Gmail, they're going to mark you as spam, so it won't go through. So I typically break it down into 400 something and send 2 emails, which is what Jari did. So those of you, there was a little more fireworks. Those of you later in the alphabet, those of us well-behaved L's and under, were a lot less fireworks. But those of you in the M's and above, M through Z, got a lot more excitement on yours. So anyway, I appreciate you guys all coming in. Do you guys have any kind of questions before we get started? Anything you guys would like to discuss before we get started? We're going to go through the market report.
I do, yes. Good morning, everybody. I've worked with a transaction desk the entire time I've been as an agent here, and I'm recently working with Forum Simplicity, and I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between the two. There's some quirks in transaction desks that kind of throw me sometimes. But has anybody here worked with both of those systems and found one better over the other? Things like importing data into the MLS, information being truncated, just ease of use and things like that. Any feedback from anybody?
Does anybody besides me able to answer that? Anybody that's out there working daily with customers? Okay, I'll give you my 2 cents. I've worked with both. Transaction Desk I find to be more modern and updated. I don't know what kind of quirks you're running into it. I'm sure they both have quirks. I can tell you from an FRI standpoint, they let us use our better logo. It's not the black one that the only one Forum Simplicity will do is an ugly black one that looks all blotted out when you send it. You can't tell by looking at the screen, but then when you print it or send it to someone, it's different. I like Transaction Desk better. To me, it seems less clunky and easier, but yeah, so Jari she worked for Florida Association of Realtors for 5 years, but she likes Forum Simplicity, and she fixed the logo. So there we go. Breaking news, she fixed the logo. They would only accept it, but then again, this was also 8 years ago. So that's awesome. There you go. Anybody else have any input on that?
Yes, Clarence here. Yeah, so I've used both of them. I started out initially with Forum Simplicity, and and then the company I was with wanted to change platforms, so we went to the other one, and so now I continue to use it. I have found they're both probably fairly similar. It's just learning the quirks of each of them and working through them. I mean, I've considered going back to Forum Simplicity, but I've figured out the quirks of where I'm at, so I'm probably just going to stay there.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I like Transaction Desk too. Does Forum Simplicity allow you to upload your listings the same way you can on Transaction Desk when you fill out the MLS data entry form on Transaction Desk? Then you could just click upload and the listing, and it'll send it directly to your MLS with whatever you put in that data entry form. Does Forum Simplicity do that too? I don't know. You don't know, Ryan?
Yeah, Jari's answering on chat. She says yes.
Yes, they do. Angie. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like it, just because it's easy to use. But I've never used Forum Simplicity, but Transaction Desk has been really easy to use, and yeah, I like it.
I will tell you, as someone who's old, been in the business a long time, they're both great. They're both a lot better than what we used to do. So I appreciate both of them. But I prefer Transaction Desk, but I don't care what you guys use. If whatever, I think Clarence hit on the head, and Angie has too. Just whatever you work out the quirks with, each of them are going to have their quirk. Nothing's going to be perfect for Mike Sperling or Angie Elstad or anyone else. It's just you figure out your way around whatever you're dealing with. That's a good question. Anybody else have any input on that? Okay, good. Any other questions, comments? Mike, by the way, both of them have signature programs that work through them as well, that they automatically adhere to, and or they have partnerships with. And your MLS or Florida Association of Realty membership gives you discounts on those, which is much better than signing up for DocuSign or something like that. So if those of you who don't know anything about that, check into it. Any other questions or comments before we get started? Okay, let's get going. We're going to share the screen. All right. Here, you guys see my screen okay? Can you actually see the numbers? Okay. You can disregard the Puerto Rican stats for today. But on the left side, although they are interesting, I was looking through them as well because I like to look at stuff. And you can see that their numbers, and we're going to do some comparison of this on our side, but their numbers, if you see their sales from last month are up 49%. It doesn't take much to change their numbers. It's not a huge area they're in. But look at their 144% volume. So something really big, some really big stuff sold over there. So it's just kind of interesting how much that affects, how much that affects the numbers. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. So here's the one this is a stellar, most of you guys are in the stellar areas. Those of you are in some of the flex places. This isn't your area, but it's a big enough area to get a good sample of what's actually going on in the market. I love that about our stellar report, is that it's a huge area. There are some 8.5 million people in our stellar area here that's all connected, which is great for those of you in Orlando, Tampa, Sarasota, all the way to West Volusia, Osceola, and up to Clearwater, et cetera. So active listings down a little bit, not much to speak of, but look, they're up 100%. They're double last year, 20,000. Now we have 40,000 active listings. Certainly you guys are seeing that in the market. And that's why you're seeing a little bit more buyer friendly stuff. The new listings down 16% from last, but that's typical around the holidays. I don't think that's anything unusual from the holidays. It's down though from last year, where listings were down overall, which is surprising. So they were kind of up last year for December compared to the rest of the months of the year. Okay, pending sales down 5%, not earth shattering. Down 30%, not a surprise. The whole market's down transaction wise 30% from last year. That's not a surprise at all. Listings sold, here you're seeing that 30-35%. That's where everything is. Listings sold though, up 14%. People closed by the end of the year, and we saw that at FRI as well. But I want to compare these numbers. Total sales volume also up 14%, down 35%, down 31%. These numbers are statistically within the margin of error, and they are showing that the same price home is selling this year as it did last year. So we're doing the same amount closing wise. We're up, up 14%, up 14%, down 35%, down 31%, which says that the volume is the same as the listing sold. So roughly the same price of houses selling this year that sold last year. So what we saw when we went into the big boom and people said, oh my gosh, and I went over with you guys several times when we did these market report things, is, oh my gosh, the median house was selling for $350 last year, and now the median house is selling for $425. It's gone up way up percentage wise. No, that wasn't the case. Higher price homes were selling through the pandemic and beyond, because those are the people who kept their jobs and had more money to spend, and they were buying the higher end houses while interest rates were low, et cetera. Now things have kind of evened out, and the same kind of house is selling this year that sold last year at this time. If that, you guys follow that? So the same amount of houses are selling. If you look at the difference between this one and the Puerto Rico stats, they're up whatever they were up 45%, but up 144% in volume because they're selling more expensive houses over there than they were last year. So that's where we are. Active days on market, we're up 20% from last year and last month, and up 100% from the year before. It was 20 days, now it's 40 days. It was 20,000 listings, now it's 40,000 listings. Those fall right in line. Average sales price, exactly the same as last month, up from last year. Now that's a great example. This is exactly what I was talking about. Do we think that the same house has gone up from last year, or do we think that they're just different houses being bought now, right? So that's where we are. Months of inventory, we're actually down one from last month. That's got to be close to, since we're actually not even selling as much, that's got to be close to right on the edge of 3 and 4 months. I'm assuming that number is probably go back up to 4 next month. And of course, last year, you guys remember the chaos of last year, 1 month, couldn't find anything to buy. So that's where the market is. You guys have any questions on that while we're here? What are you guys seeing out there?
People are buying the smaller houses and the less expensive houses under 500, I think.
Is that what you're seeing?
Maybe
more
even a closer to 300 or 400 range, I would.
And what do you think, importantly there, Lisa, that's a great observation. What do you think is the cause of that?
Well, the inflation has raised all the extra costs, like the insurance and the cost of fuel, everything else. Their other, bills are making it go up $1,000 a month, or actually over $500 a month.
And throw interest rates in there as well.
Yeah, so then their mortgage is going to be close to probably $800 more.
So people can afford, and if your income hasn't gone up significantly in the last, how much would your income have to go up to pay that extra $1,000 a month? Quite a bit, right? So if your income hasn't matched that, which it probably hasn't, you can buy less house now, which is what I've been telling you guys. As you guys know, I always tell you when it was a good time to buy, it was a good time to sell, right? And are things going to get better in the new year? What do you guys think? I'm getting a lot of
I think so.
No, yes, no.
I hope the interest rates are going to go down in March, like they were predicting. Some people have been predicting that.
Some people.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, go ahead. That's what I heard. That end of first quarter.
Anybody hold
and
these
either
people?
way, whether the interest rates go down or not, like whatever they end up doing, it's still a good time for most people to buy a house, especially if they're renting or if they're not in the house they want to be in. The interest rates, the pricing, the market doesn't really matter. They need to move when it's the right time for their family to move. And if they're ready to buy a house now, now's the time to buy a house. The sooner you can get into the real estate market, the better, especially here in Florida, where in the long run, we're always going to go up.
Beautiful. See a big smile on my face, Angie. I love it. And if it's a good time to buy, what is it also a good time to do? Sell, right? Do you guys think they're going to get this insurance thing under control? No. Do you guys think we're ever going to? I drove through a neighborhood yesterday. Half of the houses, this is down in Winter Haven, half of the houses have blue tarps on the roof. There's people going around door to door. Hey, we can get you some money for this. We can get you some money for that. Insurance adjusters, get you money for this, money for that. They scare them about, you probably have a leak, look at all your neighbors. You probably have a leak, that kind of stuff. Insurance this is a problem that's here to stay. I think that the cat has been out of the bag on that for a while, and there's no, what was it? The horses out of the barn. There's no putting that thing back in there for a while. So I don't think that's going anywhere. You can listen to all the people you want about interest rates. I don't think anyone ever holds them accountable for their bold predictions of interest rates. And I don't think they have any idea. They can look at all these 10-year averages and stuff for everybody that says it's going to be. Lots of people aren't saying doom and gloom because it doesn't do anybody much good to go on about doom and gloom, but I don't think we have any assurance of that. So, for people to say, I'm just going to wait till the interest rates come down, I don't think that's a sound strategy at all. And Angie, you hit the nail on the head when you said, even if you had a higher interest rate, wouldn't you have liked to have bought a house here 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? People who've owned their house, when you guys go for a listing appointment, they say they've owned it for 15 years. How does that make you feel about their equity? Probably pretty good, right? Right. And if they say, I want to sell my house and buy another one, Daryl, can you help me? How long have you had your house? 15 years. They probably can do about whatever they want, right? Because the best time to buy would have been 15 years ago. The second best time to buy is today, right? So it's like planting a tree. If you want shade, best time would have been 20 years ago. Second best time is today. So yes, Daryl.
Didn't they just pass a law or something this past month or so about the roofers going around to people's homes to try to get them under contract and so forth, to try to diminish the all the people trying to sue their insurance companies for a new roof?
They have passed laws to try to combat that, but it's not going to have an immediate effect, and it's not going to. And it's still interest. The insurance companies have not. It doesn't seem like, from what I read, that they're going to be dropping prices or anything. I don't think we will ever see lower insurance prices than what we're doing now. All these hurricanes are just giving people an excuse to drive that up. Plus, it's actually blowing some shingles off. So, some of it's legitimate, and a lot of it is people taking advantage of the system. Which, yes, they tried to combat that. I suggest you guys read up on that. They had a special session. They just did this in Florida, but they still have insurance companies wanting to leave the state, and people are still finding better rates through the Citizens than through companies, which is not the purpose of Citizens. So you guys read up on that as part of your job to know everything about this. I did read the article, and I can tell you that it seemed inconclusive. They had just passed it the day before when I read about it, but it was inconclusive what it's going to do. And of course, they tell you what they say it's going to do, and they tell you what critics say, which means the other side of whatever it was. And the truth is somewhere in the middle, I guess. But we'll have to see what it does, the actual effect of it. But yes, the idea was to cut down on people taking advantage. Yes, Angie.
I don't know if anyone else has noticed this too, but I've had 2 buyers recently that just closed at the end of the year, and both insurance companies told us that the 4-point being clear was mandatory. It wasn't like, here's a reduction on your policy if you have a clear 4-point. It was, we're not writing you a policy at all unless you have a clear 4-point. Whereas I feel like 5 years ago, I was selling houses and they didn't even get a 4-point inspection. And then a couple of years ago, it was like, yeah, get the 4-point if you want to save money on your insurance. And now all of a sudden it's 100% mandatory. And, they were literally not going to write a policy at all unless you had a clear 4-point. And even Citizens just told us too on our primary residence that we needed a 4-point. And if we didn't get a roof saying it had at least 2 or 3 years left of life, then we would have to replace our roof, on our own. So it's just been really crazy with insurance, which means that us, when we're representing buyers, we need to make sure that those 4-point inspection items get done before closing and get done by the seller, preferably. Nobody wants to have their buyer pay for repairs on a house before they bought it, and it needs to be done before closing. So I think it's a really important thing to see when you're talking to buyers about buying houses and showing them houses and negotiating contracts with the seller's agent.
Yes. And you know what, that brings when you start talking about this stuff, you're talking about being more diligent as a buyer's agent, and the job being more difficult and more work, and which is great, because you guys who want all of the riffraff out of the business, this is the kind of stuff that's going to cost people the chance to buy a house, and it's going to cost people a chance to make a living in real estate if they're not. But that's not going to happen to FRI agents, because you guys are going to be educated, and you guys are going to work hard, and you guys are going to represent your clients. So those of you who want the and I'm using quotes for the riffraff out of the business, the people who are, you've carried them through deals before, you know who they are, and you want them out of the business. This is the kind of thing that's going to drive them out of the business. This business isn't getting easier. It's getting more difficult and more technical and more with this market, I should say. There will be markets again where any idiot can do something, but This isn't one of those markets. This is for the tough and knowledgeable and hardworking agents to excel. You guys say you want this. You say you don't want everybody, joining in. I don't solicit new agents here at FRI because you guys know you just pay a transaction fee, and I can't train somebody from beginning to end to make $350 and then have them go out of the business. It's not time efficient for us. You guys are, you guys have experience and stuff, but I do get people calling me and saying, oh, I just got my license because my mom wants to sell her house. And, you're going to take a buyer there and you're going to have to deal with that. Someone who doesn't know anything about anything. So, just this is the stuff that you guys want. This is the time to work and to make it happen. Any other questions about that?
I have a question. This is Ida. I wanted to go back to what Angie was mentioned about the 4-point inspection, recommending that. Always great to recommend, but I understand also that insurance cannot deny you coverage. And if the insurance, this is what I read, if the insurance said that you need to replace your insurance, you can always challenge that and get an inspector to inspect that and forward that documentation to the insurance. And again, they need to provide you that coverage. That's my reading that I did. So what do you say to that, Ryan?
What do I say to that? I'm not familiar with any law that says that you have to be provided insurance and they can't turn you down. People are losing. People are getting their insurance canceled.
But you can always challenge that if a certified, because I understand that a certified and licensed roofer you can hire, come to do the inspection and write the report, and you send it back to the insurance, and they cannot deny that certified inspector because it has to be certified and licensed that says this roof have many more years, X amount of years to go, and the insurance have to provide it because I think it was on the law that they passed. They cannot deny it.
Okay. Yeah. I believe that's what she was saying, though. She was saying if it has more than 3 years, then they're not going to deny it. I don't know that they can't deny it, but she's saying it needs to have at least 3 years on it. That might be the law. But I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with it. Ida, I'm sorry.
Question on that, guys. This is Martha. Hi, Ryan. How do you go about, like, you guys were talking about the insurance thing, and it's true. I mean, the insurance companies are like forcing people to get this the way they wanted to do it. So when you're in the middle of a transaction, what do you recommend to your client? Because you go back saying they should or should not do this, but at the end of the day, the client wants to close on the house. So what's the recommendation as buyer's agent mainly to deal with this? Because you're in the middle of not knowing what the law really dictates and trying to help your client.
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. What exactly are you asking if you're representing a buyer and they can't get insurance?
Right. What's the recommendation? How do I guide my client? Because again, you try to help them, like in a case that they were forcing the client to do the 4-point inspection thing and all this stuff. And like the other lady was saying that it wasn't by law required. They're supposed to give insurance regardless of that. But then the insurance company was saying that, no, they cannot get insurance unless they get this.
Okay, I'll answer this question, Martha. You move insurance up to the front of the list for inspection period. You move insurance, you go ahead and get them insurance right away. Go ahead and get quotes on insurance right away.
Okay. Yeah, and also, Martha, if you want some more advice, like before you even show a house to a client, when you're looking at it on the MLS, look and see what's there. Look and see when the roof is. If there's no information, look up the permits on it. So before they even like it, before they even walk in the door, you have to do more due diligence right now of seeing if the house is up to the 4-point standards, just from whatever you know about those standards, and then reaching out to the listing agent and asking them, hey, is there a 4-point inspection, done recently? Is the seller agreeing to do any 4-point inspection repairs? And then if they do love it, you can even put that in your offer where all, in the additional terms, all 4-point, a clear 4-point inspection is needed. And then if the seller signs it, then it's right off the bat, that the seller's agreeing to do any 4-point inspection repairs. make sure you get the correct verbiage if you're going to add that to a contract. But you could do that from the beginning rather than waiting until they get under contract during inspection period. The 4-point comes back and they thought the roof was okay and it's not, or, you know, the electrical system's never been updated, you know, whatever it might be. You got to start beforehand. And then if you're on the seller side, that's the other thing that we need to do too. We need to put it in the realtor remarks, clean 4-point inspection, passing 4-point inspection from January 2023, whatever it is, put that in the public remarks, put it in the realtor remarks, attach the report to the MLS attachments, and let people know that this house, you know, is good to go and seller is selling us a solid house in order to help your clients out the best.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Ryan.
Ryan, I went through the same similar that Angie said. I own a property, and Citizen, after 6 months of having the insurance, they say that I had to do another 4-point inspection because the water heater was off. I ended changing the water heater and putting in paying for another 4-point inspection because they just decided 6 months later that I needed to do that in order to have the insurance. So they're getting very strict and asking for things. And if you need the insurance, period, then you have to have it, because other companies were asking me for the same thing because the water heater was working perfectly and it was more years that they wanted. So I ended up buying a new water heater, paying somebody and doing another 4-point inspection. And that was this past year.
Wow. Wow, I hadn't heard of that for water heaters. Any other, I mean, I understand it, but I hadn't heard of it. Any other questions, comments on that stuff?
Yeah, I think we're working with buyers that have these insurance issues. Insurance it's like you say, it's all over the place right now. Insurance companies are trying to grapple with what they're having to deal with in the future and what they're dealing with now. The listing I currently have, the insurance company called that owner and just dropped them flat out, said, we're not going to cover you anymore. You're going to have to get somebody else. So that kind of stuff can come out of nowhere. But as far as working with buyers and insurance on getting insurance on homes, it's something that we as agents have to really get with the listing agent, talk to them and say, look, this insurance thing it doesn't matter what buyer comes along. This insurance has to do with affecting the house, not the buyer or the seller, but the property itself. So if it's got to be addressed, the seller has to be aware that no matter who the buyer is coming along, the insurance company is going to push buttons, and you never know what it could be. A water heater, could be a roof, who knows? But it's got to be an education effort between everybody to let them know it's not a battle between the buyer and the seller or the seller. It's we got to appease the insurance companies, do whatever we got to do to make it happen.
Yeah, that's important. That's what you have to do if you have a listing, and that's what you need if you're representing a buyer. Yes, sir, Clarence.
So I don't do a lot of residential, but on the occasion that I have, what I'm trying to do in those scenarios is find out who the insurance is currently on the home, with the current owner, and relay that information then to the buyer so they can hopefully get the same insurance. I mean, if the home's already insured by that company, then ideally or likely they will continue to insure it for the new owner.
Yes. Any other questions or comments on insurance?
I'm sure we can complain all day about insurance companies if you want to keep going.
No, I'm sure we can. And like Clarence was saying, a lot of them want out of these. For a lot of times that doesn't work because a lot of them want to get out of Florida, or they want to get as little exposure as possible in Florida. I was just reading something that said that Florida does have 9% of insurance policies in the United States or something, and it has 76% of insurance claims. So that's the problem in Florida.
I wonder what the rates are in California. We're probably super lucky here. I would hate to see the rates out there.
Well, everything is, yeah, everything's out there, and especially now with their flooding and their fires and
I
everything
love
that they
California, but I'm sure their rates are just astronomical.
I'm sure they are.
So,
Well, that's one thing, Daryl. I like that. You could just present that to your customer. Say, here's what it would be in California. And they'll be like, oh, this is great. Right. Yes, Clarence.
So I think it's a scenario of us, just focusing on ourselves, which is understandable, Florida. But there's other states, other parts of the country that have, similar issues that we're just not aware of. And so we don't discuss those. But yeah, California definitely going through some stuff right now. I saw an interesting thing on the news last night where they were talking about Florida for the last year, had the highest, the fastest growing state in the nation, surpassed some of the other states in the past. So we got more issues going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Ryan, in summation with the insurance, basically just be proactive, get that taken care of ahead of the time, because the insurance companies, they are in the driver's seat. There's no way around it. And I like the idea where, try to use a previous homeowner insurance company. That might make things a little bit easier, but you can't close if you ain't got homeowners insurance. It's a lending requirement. So unless it's a cash deal, right? Probably. But yeah, they're in the driver's seat and there's not much you can do. So put that in the contract and deal with that as soon as possible, because most likely will come up. And you're right, there are canceling a lot of insurances out there. The home here that I have, which I found it strange, the insurance company, they wasn't going to cancel it, but they came in, they wanted to do and inspect the entire house. They literally took pictures in every room, garage. It felt like an appraisal, and I've never heard of insurance companies, I know they do inspections on the roof and stuff like that, but this was a full blown, I'm talking about, they took pictures of everything. And I said, this is really unusual, but, things are changing. So
Jose, was
Yes,
that during the hurricane period when the hurricanes were going through? Because I had exactly the same thing happen to me.
Yeah, it was like right after.
Yeah.
And I have a new roof, and they know that. They still want it. And I said, well, why do you need to take pictures of the rooms? And they were measuring the lot. Yeah, just like the way an appraiser would do it. And I just found it strange, but you know what? We had to do it if we wanted to keep our insurance. So
because we were right in between two hurricanes. The one just happened, I think because I was just closing on one, they did exactly the same thing. They took pictures of the inside to make sure there was no damage from the first hurricane.
Yeah. So it is what it is. So just nip it in the bud early.
Yeah, they're probably seeing if there was any old roof leaks with any spots on the ceiling and stuff like that. Yeah, that is interesting. They're also looking for, probably have determined that it is a good return on their money to hire people to go do these inspections, and it probably saves them a ton on what they would consider to be fraud, which might just be looking for reasons to not pay out a claim. Anything that you lie about or anything that you do anything, they've got pictures now. And they probably have determined it cuts down on fraud, or in some cases, just their deny policies that some of them have too.
Pictures and videos, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that, and found the same thing. My mother ended up getting her insurance dropped some months ago, and then ended up having to go with Citizens. They came out and did the same type of inspection, and then a couple months later, we were able to get another insurance company. Actually, Citizens forced the move, and that insurance company came out and did the same full inspection again as well. So yeah, it's definitely a trend that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking after their businesses, looking after their money. Any other discussion? So I've decided since we went on such a tangent on this insurance stuff, to have an insurance person come in here shortly. So I'll have an insurance person. You guys can just grill them. I'll probably just log out that day and let you guys just have fun all day. So we'll see about that. Next week we have someone coming in for talking about turning your contacts into business and working your sphere and doing that. Somebody with some good tips and tricks for you guys, and I'm excited about that as well. Any other questions or comments for today?
So since you're bringing in an insurance representative, if you need a roofing representative, I have one in my back pocket. So awesome.
Well, we'll work on that. Fantastic.
A quick question. Does anybody have signed up for HomeSnap? Anybody use it? That's offered through MLS. You get your own website, and they got a lot of cool features where you can use it for marketing, to do like pay-per-click, and people could get their home valuation. You can use it as a lead generation. It's something that I kind of been looking into. I just trying to get some feedback on it.
I think I used it the first year that it was free. They had a free trial for, I think, the first year.
Right. They do have a free version. I am with that, but they have one for $39 that you should really check it out. I mean, you can really use it as a marketing tool. To really, they also, when you sign up, you get Google reviews. They do a whole Google profile for you. They update it automatically. So it's something I'm considering. It's kind of like for marketing campaigns. So I just want to reach out, see if anybody was utilizing it.
I liked one aspect of it. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Daryl.
I liked one aspect of it because they showed you a, what do they call it? A fire map or something? Or
yes. Yes.
And it's really cool because they show which properties might go into foreclosure, and they show, all the, and that was a really cool part of it. I remember that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, yes.
This is Ida. I was just going to suggest Google that company and see what people are saying about it. So you will have a different approach, point of view, and see who's saying what, and see if that's something that you want to do. Yeah.
No, I have looked into it. I've answered, but I just want to see if there were any agents in there were utilizing it. It does has some other, the paid version has some really, really good features, because I do some Facebook campaigns, pay-per-clicks and things like that. So I'm familiar with that, but and they also give you a website, so, if you don't have a website, it's part of your MLS too. So it's not bad, it's just something I'm just throwing it out there. Might want to check it out.
Yeah, I recommend to you guys to learn everything that's part of your MLS dues. You guys, as we all do, complain about MLS and board dues and stuff like that. Find out what it actually gets you. There's lots of little stuff it gets you, similar to all the things that we complain about. But like the new home people we had in here a couple weeks ago, the new home MLS thing. Mohammed asking about the transaction coordinators. Angie has given you one. You guys are welcome to talk to Michaela about that. Angie could tell you that from the agent side. Michaela can tell you who does good paperwork from the office side, who actually does it right. She's got, I think she has some favorites. But the agent assist, I've seen them on Angie's paperwork and stuff. So I know that if she's happy with them, they do a good job. So look at that. Jari has about 30 HomeSnap awards. She's probably told you about them. You guys see those every year when they come out, the HomeSnap things. If some of you, when he mentioned that, you're kind of had that look of recognition. They do send out a lot of emails. I know that. And they also give out awards, and you see people on their social media posting that they were a top HomeSnap agent, which I think they give them to anybody who did a deal. So, I'm in the top whatever percent. Any other questions or comments? Anything else you guys want to discuss with your fellow agents?
Ryan, if
Yes.
you can go just a very quick on the stats. I know it's not relevant, but I have some property in Puerto Rico that I'm planning to sell this year. And can you go over the last numbers on the Puerto Rico stats?
The Puerto Rico stats. Yes, I've got a lot of private messages, people asking me for to go over the Puerto Rico stats. Sounds like somebody doesn't believe that, but it is completely made up. So here we go. Puerto Rico stats. Okay. Looks like they're up 9% in active listings, where we're down 5%. Guys, it doesn't take much. So any small thing here with such a small sample size is going to throw the numbers way off. That's why you see a bunch of big numbers over here. A little bit here and there does a lot. For example, they only did 79, 41. They only did 72 more listings than last month, and it's up 35%. So it's not 72 listings doesn't move this number much. So Puerto Rico, they're up new listings from last month and way from last year, way up, almost double from last year, which is great. Pending sales down means things are sitting on the market longer. Let's see, active days on market. Well, doesn't look like it from last month. It's not, but new listing is up, pending sales are down. It should create more inventory, which not from last month, but definitely from last year. They're sitting at 9 months of inventory. Listing sold up 50% from last month. So lots of people like they are here getting things in by the end of the year. This is where I compared these numbers, listings sold to volume. It's 3 times higher. So a lot more expensive houses, whatever they were doing, it's a lot more expensive. They're only up 50% here and they're up 150% there. So a lot more expensive houses we're selling. Active days on market is down from last month, about the same as last year. And average sales price. So even with the booming market they were having not as big of a boom. Average sales price is very, very high, up 63% from last month and up 25% from last year. Does that mean real estate has gone up 25% during the year? No, just some bigger houses sold. Some fancier, higher priced luxury homes were sold, which has skewed their numbers. So that's what's going on, Sandra. Does that help you at all?
Yes.
What in particular are you looking for?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Can you not hear me?
No, I have properties that I own. They are in San Juan. And that's what I was trying to see how was the market at this point, because I was planning to sell it. I did the remodelation in July, and then I said, well, let me wait a few months to enjoy the house. But I haven't been there. So I said, oh, this year I will sell it. So I was thinking about Airbnb, but then being so far from here, I said no. So
Sandra, are you licensed in Puerto Rico?
I'm sorry?
Are you licensed?
No.
You're not.
I just own the property.
Okay, we do have at least one agent who is Anid Rodriguez, is licensed there. Dwayne, I just saw something recently. She's asking in chat about being an agent in Puerto Rico. Okay. Becoming one, and there's some kind of reciprocity. I'm not sure exactly. It's not like direct reciprocity. Hey, you're also an agent there, but there's some kind of benefit to being an agent here that you can get one easier there. I read something about that. Just try to Google that and let me know what you find. That's for Dwayne. All right, thank you. Any other questions? Sandra, so to get it to Sandra, things are sitting on the market there for 9 months right now. So the average home is sitting on the market for 9 months.
Yes, that's typical there. That's nothing new.
Mm-hmm. Is it? And now tell me, Sandra, is that because people just put their stuff on the market overpriced, or is it?
It is so different there because besides that, when I was there, I met with an appraisal. And they don't use the MLS. They don't use Stellar. I said, what you guys use? It is a different kind of, and also the way they appraise the houses are very different from here. So I was a little bit in shock about that.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking to Anita about it. I know they have a different system altogether. You have to be some kind of the listing agent only can sell. They don't pay buyer's agents or something like that. It's interesting.
Yes. And
Um,
then they use Google, they use other like government, like we do here to check certain information, but we have our own way to create reports and put it in the MLS, and they don't. So I say, how you guys, no wonder it stays in the market for so long, because not everybody has the information to see. So for me, it was a culture shock.
okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Any other questions or comments about Puerto Rico or anywhere else? Anybody have anything?
Yeah, I just by doing some research, I definitely have noticed, like in the hard hit areas, like the beach area properties, I'm starting to see more cash deals. Can you hear me, Ryan?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to be I just wanted to make that comment out. Like the prices are going down in those areas for sure. Like I came across a couple of, well, I'm in the market right now. I'm looking for a few multifamily homes. So I've been specifically looking for that. So I just noticed like the ones that are coming up in like of course we Fort Myers, Daytona Beach, this in a couple of areas of those that may have been affected by the hurricane. I've noticed that in the comments, that the selling agent is asking for cash. And I mean, of course, I understand that, but I was just curious, I've started, is this going to be turning in, is this market going to turn into more of an investor market, a more of a cash deal market? And that was one of the things that I was just wondering about.
Let's talk about investment properties right now. All right. So I'll tell you why people want cash too is because deals fall apart because of appraisals, commercial appraisals or standard appraisals, investment appraisals, et cetera. Part of the reason is that, when you're looking at macroeconomics, to invest, whether you're a REIT or you're just a person who's got a diversified portfolio, if you have got to compete, real estate has to compete with other investments that they can do. So when the market goes up, the interest rates go up, bond rates go up, everything else rates go up, people demand more return on their money. So they might get out of something in real estate if it's making them 5 or 6%. If you got 5 cap, 6 cap, something like that, they can make more money somewhere else. They're going to move their money. Which means there's more properties on the market, which means they are going to bring less. If I need a higher return on my investment, I can pay less for the property. Also, prices went crazy when interest rates were low. Bond rates, I don't know if you guys ever look at bond rates and stuff like that. They were very low. And so everybody wanted to buy real estate and people would overpay for it and people would get they would take a lower return, which means they could pay more. A lot of rents haven't caught up. I have seen it in our properties that we sell for our property management clients. It has dried up quite a bit, the market for investment properties. The ones that our clients bought in 2010 for $50,000 and now they're worth $200,000. They were worth $220 a year ago, and now they're getting offers for $195 and $200. So it's kind of it's flattened out. I would say it went up because it just went up ridiculously in the last couple of years, and it's kind of flattened out. So yes, that has more so than your single family home. If you live in a house and you feel like, wow, I gained a lot of equity in the last couple of years, and then I lost a little bit. Maybe you don't know for sure. It's kind of flattened out. Well, investment properties have gone down some. So if you had investment clients who you told them the right time was sell was 6 months ago, you were right, and they missed the window. I mean, you can still sell them, but they missed the window. And so I'm seeing more now, actually, people who are trying to buy ours, they're trying to buy it with financing. More so than cash, which is against what you would think. It's counterintuitive, but it is actually what's happening. I'm seeing a lot of people trying to buy with financing now. Financing's gotten a little bit easier for investment properties. There's less cash looking to buy them. So if that's what you're asking, there's less cash out there, but yes, cash people are still out there. And you're getting, those of you who are listing anything right now, are you guys getting a lot more lowball offers than you've ever been getting before in your life? Because that's what I've seen and that's what I've heard from you guys. Tons of really lowball offers. People just trying to steal property from people who aren't paying attention, I guess. But crazy.
I have tons of people asking for seller financing and for subject to on my triplex in Daytona. Tons. And I put the details in the MLS. I won't do seller's financing. I won't do subject twos. And I'm still receiving tons of calls from agents asking. I'm like, read the freaking MLS.
Oh, Daryl, they went to the seminar and they told them they could buy anything with no money down. So Carlton Sheets, I don't know if he's still alive, poor guy, but he's been telling people that for 30 years. So, all right, let's talk about that too. So if you have a property, guys, and this is for those of you who have properties and those of you who have advised clients, if you're listing a property for Daryl, okay, Daryl's making a rental income on his property. He's just decided it's time to move on for whatever reason. Why on earth would Daryl let me pay him monthly for something he's already getting paid monthly for, and then I just take over ownership of it down the line? He's already getting a monthly payment. He doesn't want your monthly payment. Even if you give him 20 grand down and you're going to pay him for the next 10 years monthly, he's already getting monthly payments. He doesn't want that. He obviously wants the cash for something. So you guys can present them to, but make sure your sellers, don't let them get dollar signs in their eyes when they see this. Make sure that your sellers understand that, they're just going to be, it's just like they're renting it for a little bit more than what you're doing now. And you just won't own it in 10 years or 5 years or whatever they've worked out. So it's a great way to buy a property. If you're out there doing this, just waste Daryl's time all you want, because it's a great idea. And maybe one day he'll be drunk and take your offer. I don't know. But if you're representing a seller, make sure they understand what this means to them. And don't be surprised when sellers tell you to go fly a kite when you offer them seller financing deal on their income and producing property, their cash flowing property, because they'd be insane to take it for the most part.
And also, Ryan, that's something to discuss with a seller at your consultation with the listing agreements filled out too, because I have some investor properties and I'm getting countless calls for subject to. It's just driving me crazy. I pride myself on answering my phone, but I'm about ready to stop. They've been driving me nuts. So asking your seller beforehand and getting it, in writing from them, if they want to accept those offers or review those offers or not, because I can't, if I went to my client with all these subject to calls I'm getting, it would drive us both crazy. So I already talked to them about what that is, seller financing options and those options. And they said they do not want any of those offers. So I just emailed them a list at the end of the week. This person called. So I cover myself, but I'm not going to call them and ask them every time somebody tells me a subject to, because it's literally like 3 or 4 times a day when I have a couple listings on there. It's ridiculous.
Okay, that's a great point, Angie. And you guys have heard me mention that here before, about the other thing about the low balls. And that is, you can absolutely talk with your client. You are obligated to present all offers, right? You can talk to your client about not presenting them offer under a certain amount, whether percentage wise under asking or an actual dollar amount, whatever it is. And you could talk to them about that up front when they're all excited about getting their asking price. That's a good time to talk to them about, guys, look, let's agree that if they're at 90% of what we're asking, we probably can negotiate up to something more acceptable. But if they're at 75% of what we're asking, they're just lowballing things. That magic number, I don't know if you guys have ever done the math on this, is typically like 70%. They'll just, when you get these odd numbers for your listing, you listed it at 299 and you get this odd number for, 214,774. It's because they're doing a percentage of something. There's something in their computer program that automatically spits out all these things. And half the time they have something wrong with the address or whatever because they forgot to replace that field. So, you get those, but you can put on your listing agreement, I will not present, I will not waste your time with any offers under, put that in those words, but broker will not present offers under X amount. And you are absolutely authorized not to present that. And you're absolutely authorized when you get these lowball offers, say, I am not authorized to present your offer or any offer under X amount. You can absolutely share that with them. Also, something you guys need to know, if you don't already, is a violation of the ethics code of ethics for you to not let someone know you've received their offer if they ask you to let them know you've received their offer. If someone sends you an offer and says, please let me know you've received this, you are obligated to let them know that you've received that offer. Okay.
Awesome.
If they do not ask you that, you are not obligated. If they do not, if they just say, here's an offer, you're not obligated. But if they say, please let me know that you've received it, you're absolutely obligated by our code of ethics. And this is a rule that's probably 5 or 6 years old, that you are obligated to let them know, and they can file a complaint against you with the board if you don't. All right. And if you ever are accused of not presenting an offer and you don't have proof that you presented it, you need to have proof that you presented it, first of all. So even no matter how stupid the offer is, you got to let them know that. Now, you do not have to, and I hope you're clicking the button on your listing agreements that you're not going to present verbal offers or present offers once they already have an offer. There's places to click on your listing agreement to not do that. That way you're not obligated to present verbal offers because they're nonsense most of the time. I mean, you can if they're great. You know, if they sounds great, then you can run it by yourself. They say, yeah, you know, they're sounds like they're offering everything, you know, see if they'll do that, but give us, 60 days to close instead of 45, then that's something you can verbally run by them and do that. But you don't want to be obligated to do that.
Luna, come and eat.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
I have a couple questions. Does anybody post on Facebook to like Canada or Brazil? Because I'm trying to find a buyer now for the listing I have, and it's like a short-term rental property. And I actually wanted to tell everyone about it. It's in a golf club community in Davenport, and it's under 400,000. It's really quite an interesting neighborhood. There's a lot of British there too. It's like you can have investors there. It's short-term rentals allowed. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath pool house. It has a really nice pool enclosure. I would love it if I could swing it, but yeah, if someone's looking for a second home or investment property, I think that the sellers got the price too high. Well, just between you guys.
Yeah, don't put that in the ad.
No, I won't. Yeah, it's a lot of the appliances and the HVAC water heaters all original. So we did get a 4-point inspection, so I'm going to put that on as an attachment. So it's passed the inspection. I have to get a copy of that yet, so I'm waiting. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. But I'm trying to find out on Facebook where I can post it now to some other countries.
You can post it wherever they'll let you. Yeah, there's not. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I could just search that. Okay.
You can, you can talk to Jari about it as well if you want, but you can absolutely do it. I don't know if any of you guys are targeting certain areas. I don't know how you would exactly target Brazil, but if you have certain areas there or whatever, I mean, I don't think you need to. It's an Airbnb, so people should be all over it. I would hit I mean, just the MLS should do you wonders, but I would hit your personal one, put it on the FRI group page, put it on your personal page. There's always people looking for Airbnb stuff, even if it doesn't make sense.
Oh, okay. All right. And then I also wanted to tell Daryl that there's some tools in the MLS. If you go I think it's under links or tools, there's Remine, and there's also one called RPR, I think. Those two, if you look, you can see a lot of distressed properties and things like that. If you go in there, there's a lot of public information that you might have known about.
Yep, thanks. I've used them before. They're both good.
Oh yeah.
Hey, on your Airbnb, check out the Facebook pages for Airbnb. Search Airbnbs on Facebook, and there's tons of groups.
Yeah, and they would love to see that. Probably. I don't think that's against their rules either, Daryl. I have somehow been tricked into liking those.
Thank you. I'll do that right now.
Can I have, Lisa, the address? I have a client in Davenport.
Yes, I'll put it in the chat. And also it's 217 Herring Street, HERRING. And I have to tell you, the taxes weren't paid last year. So
But you don't have to tell people that. That's fine. The seller's going to take care of that at closing. All right. So I mean, it's irrelevant. The seller's it's going to come out of their proceeds. So,
well, they have a situation. What I mean.
When is it going on the MLS?
It's on the market now. It just went on Sunday night.
Perfect. Okay. So it's on the MLS right now. Perfect.
Yeah. And we have a 4-point inspection. I'm pretty sure it passed. I was waiting for the seller to pay for it. Is that something that the agent can pay and get reimbursed?
Yeah, everything's something the agent can pay and get reimbursed. If you want to pay their property taxes for them, you can too.
All righty. Thank you.
Don't do it. Don't.
No.
I'm just kidding. Okay. That's fine. No. And that's in Highlands Reserve. Is that where that is?
Yes. And I did tell him that he should pay the taxes by April 1st because of the dealing. If they don't, then somebody else can pay his taxes.
That's fine. Is this the first year he's missed?
Yes.
Okay. He's fine.
And also there's a small HOA lien on the home from the HOA for landscaping. And when I called the HOA, they said that would just go away at closing.
It goes away at closing. They better know it's got to go away before closing. Yeah, they'll settle the fee. They'll settle the fine at closing, just like the property taxes. Don't worry about any of that. Don't stress about any of that stuff. That's the seller's problem.
Okay.
It'll come out of their proceeds. All of it will. Just make sure the HOA has given him clearance that he does not have any ongoing problems.
Okay. I confirm that. Thank you.
All right. So nothing. So there's nothing ticking on his account right now.
Oh no. I did get they said he had good standing.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes, great. But I didn't get it in writing, so maybe I should.
I would get it in writing if he's got something out there. Just go ahead and get it in writing. Get an email or something from him.
All right.
All right. You bet. And it'll be on their estoppel. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but it'd be nice to have in case they look it up or find something. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Hi, this is Winnie. I have a question. Is anyone here like to do a free professional headshot from a photographer that I have just to do my house? So he's offering a free service for us.
He's offering a free what? A photographer is offering a free
professional headshots.
Professional headshots. Yes. So I used to have people come in. A lot of you guys took advantage of that when we had them come into our downtown office because they try to sell you the packages. So they're free. They'll give you one for your social media or something, but then they try to sell you packages. You can pay to have them done, or you can do that. So yeah, are you? Someone has offered you that?
Yeah, I use his service. So, and I asked because I'm new. So I'm new that is because I need the professional headshot, asking him if he can do it for me. He said, oh, yeah, I can do it for free if you are in your brokerage that anyone needs it. So I can come over, that I can do it for you, all of you for free. So that's what.
Okay. Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah, give me their information, Winnie. So just forward me their email information, and I'll try to set that up if I can.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You bet. They're not a magician. They're just a photographer. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Just one last thing. The office because I'm in the Tampa Bay area. I believe you have an office on Dale Mabry, right?
324 North Dale Mabry, Unit 303.
Okay. And that's a full office. I've never been to that one because right now, my address on the Florida Realty Investment is the Orlando. So I want to know if I should change that.
You can absolutely change it. So here's the deal with you guys, and I just want to if you guys are okay, so you can absolutely use whatever of our addresses that you wanted to use. We have branch licenses where they're legitimate places. I will tell you, in Tampa, we originally had the one in Ybor City is an executive suite. It's originally what we did for an address there years ago before I was here. I've been here 8 years now. And we opened this other office about 5 or 6 years ago. It has working people in it. It has computers, printers, conference room. It's a real office. So we have that one on Dale Mabry. So the Dale Mabry and Ybor City offices are only about 12 or 15 minutes apart, but the Dale Mabry one is the one where actual people work, and you can find FRI employees. We have signs there. We have all kinds of resources for you guys, computers, everything else.
We could schedule a client to meet us there.
Yep, it's got 24/7 access. You'll have to get with me for the code and stuff, but I'll get you all set up with everything.
Okay, good. I'll send you an email.
Okay. The second part of that is be careful when you have closings and stuff like that. If you're counting on checks, it's going to take an extra day or two, depending on when they mail the check, if they mail it to the Tampa office, because our accounting is just done out of Orlando. So out of our headquarters. So just make sure that when they see your email signature, they don't just send stuff to the Tampa office. If they do, it'll just take an extra day or two for us to get. It's not a big deal because there's people there.
Okay, I'll just tell the title company, send it to Orlando.
Yeah, to send it to Orlando. Yep.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sometimes they listen to us, and sometimes they just, the post-closing people just get it off your email signature or something like that, whatever they're used to doing. So just be careful about that. If you're waiting on a check from us, we'll get it eventually if it's just a transaction fee, because you do you get paid at closing through a disbursement authorization. So either way, it's fine. But just if you're going to be waiting on the money, just telling you, it's going to cost you a couple of days if it goes to the Tampa office first.
Okay. All right, good to know.
All right. Any other questions on that?
Oh, Ryan, do you have all day? I have a question.
I have all day, Lisa.
Was there a place where you have forms for, like, I wanted to try to learn about like investments if I wanted to buy a short-term property, or if I wanted to buy a single family home, and and crushing the numbers and just, maybe trying to start working with some investors, and is there forms that you would recommend?
Yeah, I have an investor questionnaire on our under the reference tab.
Okay, I've seen that. I was thinking about is that though, that was like asking questions of what they want to do, right? Like
that was asking questions of a client to see if they're a real investor and if they're really ready to buy, et cetera, and find out what they actually want to buy and find out how to find it. So I'll do an investment training once a year. I do it. I'll do it shortly. I'll move it up for you, Lisa.
Thank you.
We'll do it in February, probably.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
I like these calls. I appreciate it.
You bet. You bet. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, I will see you guys next week. We'll have a guest in here telling you guys what to do. So we'll see you next week, and have a great week. See you guys. Thank you for coming.